Well, welcome to another edition of the Digicel Sports Show right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me yet again is Jason Juglin J. Ford. Jay, no football, but a good weekend?
If you could say that.
Okay, all right.
Because I was missing football.
But there was so many other sports.
But the momentum from football the week before.
But there was so many other sports.
But the momentum.
Momentum.
Yeah,
that's how your boy says it. Momentum. Well, as we know, on Friday the national cricket team was announced. We had Netball All-Star. Got a chance to speak to Trey Houston about this year, and Olympic solidarity funding being offered to him, and so much more. But first, let's get a message from our sponsor.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber-to-the-home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, Jay, you've seen the national team, which are set to go to Argentina towards the end of next month. Got a chance to hear the interview with the president of the Bermuda Cricket Board, Lloyd Smith, and the coach of the national team, Clay Smith. Let's get a bit of that interview, and then we'll come back and discuss the team and some of the things they talked about during the interview.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This afternoon, Bermuda Cricket Board has called this press conference to announce the national team that has been selected for the February T20 tournament to Argentina. But before I get to the announcement of the team, I would like to make a couple of other announcements. Bermuda Cricket Board this season, part of one of my initiatives that when I came on board and assessing what we needed in cricket, we are looking to start the league early this year in April. So we'll be starting the league with open cricket, down to 50 overs, down to T20. The other thing, we will be employing an electric scoring system called Cricket HQ for all clubs to use, which will supply ball-by-ball updates to our website, which then can be followed live. So that's the type of things that we're looking to do this year. Now, I'd like to say, I'm proud of the work and dedication that the players selected have put into preparation for this first step towards the World T20 in 2020. This competition is out of season for us, but our goal is to win it outright and build confidence in our team for the World Cricket League Division 4 tournament in Malaysia. The squad is very good. It's a very good blend of senior and young players, with some of the young players that have come through our development pathways and supplemented with some very experienced players. I encourage all Bermuda to support our squad unreserved and wish the players the support and staff all the best for the tournament. At this time, I'll let our national coach announce the team for you.
Okay, the team is as follows. Sure. The team is as follows: Dion Stovall, captain; Tan Frey, vice captain; Gennaro Tucker, Stephen Bremer, Akira Bascom, Charles Trott, Tracy James, Kamal Lavrock, Jacoby Robinson, Mackay Simmons, CJ Otterbridge, Kyrie Smith, Trey Manders, and Tamika Wilson. That's the traveling party. The standby players are Jordan Smith, Christian Burgess, Onias Bascom, Zico Burgess, LJ Richardson, Nairobi Mills, and Cameron Jeffers.
Any questions, Kevin?
Yeah, Clay, is there anyone in the team that's not in the team you would have liked to have included?
Well, to be quite honest, Stephen Otterbridge has been training extremely hard with the team as well. Unfortunately, he's unable to travel due to the fact that both tournaments are so close to back-to-back work-wise. It was beneficial for him to choose one, and we felt that the trip to Malaysia was obviously the more important trip for him to focus on.
the blend, was it difficult trying to match these guys together? Because obviously we haven't, over the last few years, even in our under-19s and our senior team, haven't sort of blended well when it comes to the tournament. So this blend that you have, do you think this is the right fit for this particular event?
Yeah, it's a good blend. I mean, if you look at it, it's a mixture of youth and experience. Some of these guys, we have about 6 players making their first time actually representing Bermuda at the senior level, that is. Some of them have played obviously in the under-19s, but for senior level. So it's good to get them this exposure and making that transition from under-19s to senior level. We think they're definitely good enough. These guys have worked tremendously hard over the last 3 months because we've been training since November. So for us, it's a chance to see whether or not they're good enough to play at this level.
Looking at these names, what are you asking of Gennaro Tucker?
What Gennaro does best. He's a senior player. We're just asking him to come in and play a specific role in the middle of the order. He'll probably bat either 4 or 5 depending on the level of competition. But basically just coming in and adding some experience and leading by example. What we did when we went to Canada last summer, we had a very good mixture of seniors and youngsters, and each senior player actually took on a youngster as a roommate to guide them along, and we're in that process of transferring some of these youngsters from under-19s to senior level, and the more he's around sharing his knowledge and wealth with these guys, the better it's going to be for Bermuda cricket in the future.
You have a score of 40, I think, initially that was training. What was the attendance like at this session? And because obviously we're still missing, in honesty, we're still missing players who people would expect to be in the squad. Are they been training or what's the situation?
No, if players aren't here, it's because they haven't been training, basically. We had a squad of about 40. Obviously, out of the 40, there's about 15 that are overseas in England, roughly, in school or living. So local base, we were working with about 25 realistically, and from a training per se, we had roughly about 18 out of those 25 that committed themselves to training. And obviously we have standards in place for players to meet, so that guidelines, and these are the players that have worked their heart off for Bermuda, and they will be they deserve the opportunity to represent Bermuda.
Obviously, Dion is captain. What has happened to the captaincy? We know of OJ's health situation. Is he now no longer captain of Bermuda, or what is the situation?
Yes, OJ actually wrote into Bermuda Cricket Board requesting to leave, basically to step away for the time being until he gets himself sorted out. And in such time, Dion for the T20 is been brought in as the T20 captain. And with Taryn as vice captain. However, for the 50-over cricket, as you know, we were playing 2 50-over games while we're down there as well. The roles will actually reverse. Taryn will skip with the 50-over team, with Dion being the vice captain.
So who's going to be captain when we go to
Well, ideally, Taryn will look to take the captaincy with working with Dion on the side, and also you have Gennaro and Stephen, who are senior players that we're looking to obviously offer some information while they're on the field if need be.
So we're 2 captains now, but I mean, are they in place for the foreseeable future, or what is the situation?
Well, they're in place for these 2 tournaments. The next tournament, I'm not sure. I don't think it's until next year. So right now, these guys will be in place. Again, if OJ was to come back, then we'll have to have that discussion again, whether or not we want to insert OJ back in, or if we feel comfortable with Taryn doing the job that he's doing. You know, if he's doing an admirable job, then obviously we'll probably stick with him. It just depends. That would be discussions that would have to be had if that comes to light.
OJ has expressed interest in possibly leading his country again. He has included out, I guess, in his letter.
Well, in his letter was just basically saying he has to remove himself for the time being, but if and when he can come back to play for Bermuda, he'll love to play again.
Okay, what excites you about the 6 guys that this will be the first senior appearance?
These guys have a tremendous work ethic. We have been training under the guidance of Nick Jones, has been doing the fitness aspect of it, and these guys have worked, I'm talking about tremendously hard. We train as a team 4 times a week, and then we also have have it set up whereby if players want to, they can do one-on-one sessions outside of our training. And some of these guys have gone over and beyond the Call of Duty in terms of meeting with Nick one-on-one in his gym, doing cycling, doing fitness work, meeting with me, doing Lorenzo, doing actual burling. So they're really committed to the course. They want to be a part of it, and that really excites me, because when you look at guys like Charles Trott, Kyrie, Makai Simmons, and Gracie, these guys are all exciting players. They produce the goods in the league cricket, and now it's just a matter of can they make that next step up from league cricket to senior international cricket.
What are you expecting to face in Argentina? As far as wicket wise. Well,
we have some guys like Lorenzo, as the coach, has been over there before. He's gave us some information about what the wickets are like. They tend to play really pretty true with a little bit of spin or whatever the case may be. So we're looking to go over there and we win the toss. We're looking to bat and post totals. That's what we do. Post totals and then put teams under pressure by batting them out the game. And we have a deep batting lineup. Goes down right down to number 10. I mean, even CJ as our opening bowler showed you last year in Malaysia that when him and OJ put on, I think it was like a 50-60 run partnership, that he's capable of batting. So our batting is very deep. So we're looking to bat teams out the game.
Are you concerned that we haven't been in the middle since the season and going into a tournament right away?
That's a small concern, yes, but we do have access to BHS, and we put a lot of work, and we're still going to put a lot of more work in over the next couple of weeks, doing a lot of repetition stuff in the utilizing the nets. But for us, this tournament, I have to say, we want to get through it, and we're using this tournament actually as a forms of finding our form and getting ourselves prepared for what I would think is the bigger tournament in Malaysia. So this is actually going to help us prepare for the next tournament.
Have you asked the players not to play football until after Malaysia?
That's out of my realms. That goes to there's people that are higher above me that have to make those decisions.
Mr. President, have the players been asked to not play football during the interim of these two tours, or especially for this first tour?
For the first tour, actually, in the contract that they signed at the beginning, it states that as soon as the team has been announced that they're supposed to stop football, but actually we have asked them to stop as of February the 1st. Okay, so that's the day that they're going to be asked not to play any more football, which just gives us plenty of time for our coach to make sure that everybody's fit and in shape for the tour. And coming back from Argentina, then we'll reassess it. We try to keep players, as soon as the team has to be announced and be presented to ICC, make a judgment on when players should be actually just concentrating on cricket.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
From an administrative point of view, can we see this team actually using the National Sports Center facility to prepare in the middle at some point in time before they go on this first trip?
No, that's not going to be possible. We already tried to talk to the National Stadium and to try to get the field ready. That's not going to be possible for them. So actually what we're trying to do is, not for this tour, but actually try to get Bay ready. So Bay, when they come back off this tour, they have full access to Bayless Bay for preparation going towards Malaysia.
How difficult has it been in the process of you, this is your first team as president, the process? Because obviously one on the outside doesn't know what the process is on the inside. You've been on the board before, but has the process been difficult or different putting this together?
No, the process hasn't been difficult. It's like, ICC Americas gives you a lot of timelines that you have to meet, and actually getting everybody on board, from the coach to the selectors to the administration on board, to make sure that we meet all the timelines. But no, it hasn't been difficult.
Clay, from your experience, obviously you've played against Argentina and Cuba back in your time. Take a couple years over those things. But what are you expecting from your opponent this time around? Because they're a little younger. I'm not sure about experience-wise, but what are you expecting from Argentina and Cayman here?
From what I know of them, both of them are in a rebuilding stage of their process. But we're not underestimating them. We done some research on Cayman, especially because they just played in the Division 5 last year. So even though they lost most of the games, they're still a formidable opponent, so we can't underestimate these guys. And neither Argentina, last time we played Argentina, they were exceptionally good fielding team as well. So, we're expecting some tough cricket, but we are expected to win these matches. And hopefully, like I said, we can use these matches to get ourselves in some good form and build our confidence.
Would you have liked to have played back-to-back games on days as opposed to one game a day?
No, actually, I like it how it is simply because the weather is like it is in Bermuda. Those days off that we have out in Argentina, hopefully the weather will be conducive. We're going to actually utilize those days to do some extra training with the squad.
And because you said there's a switch in the captaincy for the 20 overs to 50 overs, how much of the team you think will change dynamics from the 20 over to the 50?
It's tough question. We have about 3 or 4 other players that are maybe vying for a position for the 50 over competition. We're going to have to reassess after this tournament how well players do, how they make the adjustment to the senior level, and then it's about what do we need, make sure that we strike a good balance and go from there, basically.
And the last question for me, to the president. It always seems as if we manage to get ourselves in tournaments out of our season. Has there been any talk with the ICC Americas, especially in our region, about having tournaments within like a schedule that we all play at the same time, kind of thing?
Well, that's always being talked about. Just happened that Argentina is hosting, so this is Argentina's season, so we're pretty much going and playing in their season. If say a more northerly team like Cayman or us was hosting, then it would have been played in our season. As well as ICC America was looking to get this tournament done early, hoping that they can have the next round in 2018. But it looks like, due to funding through ICC, that the next round is not going to be to 2019. So that was another reason why Argentina was considered for hosting. So it's always a factor that we're trying to get the games closer to our season as possible. But it all depends on who we're playing and who is in that division. That the reason why those games get played at that time.
And the step up is to face who? Only one team go up in this?
2 teams go up,
Two
actually.
teams go up, and obviously we Canada and USA.
Well, it's not been determined yet. Those rounds haven't been played.
Oh, okay. All right.
You mentioned at the beginning about the season starting in April or potential design. Have you spoken to the BFA about it? Obviously they would have to go in terms of scheduling matches before next season.
Oh, actually, I actually have spoken to the BFA, got the master schedule from the BFA, and we have sat down and their actually last game is April 1st. Their actual league game is April 1st. So we're definitely looking to start after April 1st. Well, actually, I'm aiming for April 14th right now. Depends on, like I said, is making sure that the groundsmen can have the fields available by April 14th. That's what we're working for. But if it's not April 14th, definitely will be the weekend after that.
Over the years, some fields have taken a lot longer due to groundsmen being pulled here and there, doing sometimes 3 fields. How would the association or board help to ensure that there's enough groundsmen around to take care of the field to prepare it in the matter of 4 weeks, 3 weeks?
I don't know what the length of each field takes to get to for prep. Speaking to the groundsmen I've been spoken to, and one of the groundsmen that we use to go down to the course. You know what I mean? It depends on what the field has done from the year before. If this is a year where they're redoing the whole surface, it's normally about 6 weeks. If they redone the whole surface the year before and this year is just topping up, it's approximately about 3 weeks. So it all depends on what each club has done the year before. So we can determine from the board as how people take care of the field. So we have to basically say, when you're gonna make your field available, and hopefully we can, urge them to get it ready as soon as possible.
One final question. So your team, I guess, will be Okero, Bascom, and Nicholas also will be the second keeper.
Yeah, Okero will be starting off as keeper, but obviously with such a tournament like Malaysia coming up, we will give Tamiko some exposure because we want to see how he does as well on that international stage.
Still very much part of your plans then, obviously.
Yeah, actually,
Still got a lot to walk with.
yeah, Gennaro went with us to Canada last year, and it was funny because that was his first time playing under me as coach, and when he came back, he was so enthused about the team unity and the camaraderie amongst the players that he actually reached out to me and said, Clay, listen, I'm not done yet. I want another year. I want one more shot at this, getting Bermuda qualified for Division 3. And I mean, if you see Gennaro, you'll see him. He looks absolutely fit. The guy's been working extremely hard. He's taking this very seriously because we talk a lot about when you leave this game, what do you want to leave behind? And he wants to, what legacy are you going to leave behind? And obviously he wants to go out with a bang, so he's doing everything in his power to really prepare himself so that he can have a good tournament.
Do you have more scenarios on here?
Well, I'll tell you what, the group, if you look at this group, these guys is a good group that's coming along. Obviously, you would love to have 2 or 3 others that have that same commitment, but you can only do what you can do, I'm happy with the group that we have. These guys, like I said, they're very focused, they're very committed to playing for Bermuda, and that's what you want.
Well, first of all, what do you think of the team?
Well, first of all, Earl, I just want to say congratulations to the guys who got picked. And I'll be backing you guys 100%. For these guys to be committed to our national program, we always hear about people not being committed. We have to stand up for the folks who are committed. So if guys have put in the time, guys have put in the work, guys have sacrificed from the family things, is we have to stand behind them. So no matter how many players they get picked, what names got picked, we have to stand behind them if we're talking about really for our country. In saying that, the team, we've seen this probably now for the last 3 years, probably even 4 years more in transition. 1 minute we're trying to take a more seasonal team. Next minute we're basically taking on the 19s. Sometimes we'll sprinkle a little bit this in.
But that's what we got this time.
And that's what we got this time. A couple of interesting notes to see that Dion Stovall was to be captain on one of the formats that we're going to play in.
The 2020.
I think it will be the 2020. Yeah. But he'll still be vice captain
Of the 50
of
over.
the 50 over.
Yeah.
So, but still with the knowledge of Gennaro Tucker around, he's always the honorary captain. if
Right,
you want to
right.
say.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to be much of that. But good to see that, because when we talk about Dion Stovall, transformation in probably the last 10 years, I don't think anybody could have seen this 10 years ago.
Right,
Potentially wise, yes.
right.
But to see Dion really, and I've stated it many times, Earl, probably next to Gennaro Tucker, he's probably one of the brightest cricketing minds we have.
He's a student of the game.
Yes. And I've commentated many games, as you know, and I've watched him from ball one to the end of the game, and always looking at scenarios and what it takes. And we've seen him calculate.
Yeah. Even controversially.
But he knows the game,
Right.
he knows the rules, and he knows to apply it when it needs to be applied. So having that type of wealth of knowledge on the field, you need that. Obviously, Vojay pitcher not being in the squad, it's going to leave a void,
Right,
especially in the batting.
right.
Also, a 3-point man, he's a little seamer, and also some fielding. But I will say, to see guys like Crazy James actually get a chance, which we've never really seen before. Normally, a lot of our squads came from the Premier Division sides, right? And we're seeing that change also in football.
Right. Right.
There's been open door opportunity to anybody. If you want to play for the national squad, these are requirements.
Yeah.
And if you meet those requirements, those standards,
You stand a good chance.
you stand a good chance. So you look at players like, and he had a good year last year. Now, mind you, it was in the first division,
Right.
but he's still growing. He's a young guy, and he's still growing. I'm thinking that realistically, he could probably be a force. I'm not sure about this year, but probably another year or two in the 2020 format, because he is a big guy. Plus, he can build a bit, and a good catcher too.
Right.
He can catch. But I do have a couple other issues that,
Let him out.
and you know that stuff. We hear about Stephen Outerbridge not being available for this tour, and trying to save him for Malaysia. I don't have a problem with the BCB, so let's throw that out there. And I don't have a problem with Stephen either, because obviously he's done the training. I'm going to our employers. We don't hear this in other countries. When we have people who are willing to sacrifice and represent our country, they make all the efforts. Some countries subsidize them, as we know, especially in our neighboring Caribbean countries.
Yes.
The government actually subsidizes and gives them all the opportunity to represent.
Right.
I told you earlier, I went down to Cuba, and I told you how, the artists and sport were subsidized. And you could see the pride, and, everybody wants to
Right.
represent their country. It just feels weird. It just feels weird because I'm pretty sure the environment that Stephen works in, he's not the only person that works this job 24/7, 365 days. I'm pretty sure there's somebody else.
Right. Right. But you know what the irony is? It's not the first time that this has happened.
And
we've missed out on big name players.
That's the problem that I'm having with this, Earl, because I hate to see this. I don't really hear this when it comes to football. Mind you, football is probably, the tournaments are not as long. But something's not right with this, Earl. Something's not right. It's. I'm sorry. It's. And I don't think these guys should have to use up all the vacation either.
Right. Right. Because that ultimately would have been, if he would have taken this tour and then gone on the Malaysia tour, his entire vacation is done in
remember,
April.
and you know what? I'm just thinking about it now. I remember when it was the World Cup run. There was a lot of that because guys were flying quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
And guys had prominent jobs at the time. And I know that was stressing the job. How long do we keep somebody on? I remember guys were working for Belco at the time. Some guys were school teachers at the time.
Yes, yeah.
And I know it caused a lot of stress. But they're not the only guys who worked at Belco.
Right.
They're not the only teachers in our system. So I think we were always quick to make an excuse or find a way for them not to go. And just think about it. Finding a way not to send somebody to represent your country.
Yeah.
Just that I'm going to find a way.
Even listening to it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Because that same company or companies or businesses would say, we want our people to represent the country.
Because then I attach.
It looks good on the company.
And Earl, I'm not even just looking at it at face value. I'm looking at the effects of it with the youth, with the kids coming behind. So it doesn't matter how much sacrifice they put in, how much time to get to that national level. You still could be stopped from going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question will also be, with these same companies, and I don't want to bring up that four-letter word, right? But would these same companies stop somebody from going to the Olympics?
No way. But that's representing the country too.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you'll get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
So is it because of the sport?
It begs the question.
That's why I threw it. Begs
the question.
That's why because if it was the Olympics,
Or, matter of fact, if it was a sport that the company supports,
and we're talking about the Olympics, sometimes it's 2 weeks, right?
could be longer. Especially if the person is there for the entire time. It's like 19 days, so close to 3 weeks from the opening to the closing.
But I'll let you go. I got a few more, but I'll let you go.
No.
Anything else that you?
No. I told you let it out. Let it out so it's off.
All right.
And it's
all right.
out there.
It's out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was one.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I have is I heard the coach because this question always comes up, and we've heard this question many times when it comes to these tournaments. Preparation. And he's always sounds very confident in preparation. Earl, as you know and I know, being around a gym,
it's not like being in the middle. Yeah. So I asked. That's why I asked. Because you know from playing the sport, you could be in the nets and the balls can hit the ground. It's going to come true all the time. It's going to bounce. It's going to... Playing in the middle, you've got elements, you've got the turf, you've got a batsman that can nick, batsman that could get in your way of your sight. All those type of things are now added to the, not just in the gym.
And I'm not even just on the batsman, even builders.
Yeah.
Some wickets, builders are running uphill.
Yeah.
Some are building down.
Yeah.
Some got a cross breeze. All these different things, it's not the same.
Right. And you don't know what to expect in Argentina. I know the coach did say that assistant coach Lorenzo Tucker has been to Argentina on several occasions. He knows the conditions, but me telling you what the conditions are is like if I say to you, boy, it's hot in Jamaica. Until you get there and you feel it, boy, you didn't tell me it was this hot because I can't express how hot it is. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you it's hot. So if I tell you the wickets play straight or they got green on them and, they're back from the paradise, okay, cool. You get there and it's a little quicker because you didn't tell me that. You just said it just comes through, So you have to be able to adjust to various situations.
But also, Earl, you're just saying that might be that particular field, that particular wicket. As we know, fields around the country
play totally different.
So that part two to that. Why do we have a cricket pitch at the National Sports Center?
Some would say for show.
Pull it up.
I know very well that the person that takes care of that wicket wants it to be played on.
Didn't they send them down to to
the wicket
course and all that?
Yeah, the wicket could be ready at a drop of a dime. Now, here lies the other problem that I thought about and was talked about later on. The availability of the field. And I say that because the sports center has rented the field out to various other sports.
Yes.
So if it kind of falls in when the squad wants to use it, it's unavailable. You have Kenny and Andrew's tournament going on up there Mondays and Wednesdays in the evening. You have rugby on Wednesdays, on Saturdays. Those are the things I know off the top of my
I'm
head.
glad you said that, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, right? But go back to my last issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is your national team.
Mm-hmm. But then, okay,
Hold on. Didn't we have a problem last year, I believe?
we've had a problem.
Last year, I believe, when our national team had to play on the what event was it? Our national team had to play on the because they was having an exhibition rugby match
Yes.
on the but we was
Yes.
having a national game.
Right.
Football.
Football.
Matter of fact, yeah.
Yeah. They were trying to move the football game.
So when are we going to put our national programs to the forefront?
Right. I understand that, but here lies the problem. And this is what the problem is. If I, in September, go to the sports center and say,
I booked this.
I want to book every Saturday or weekend until this date. Okay? I put in my dates and they approve it. The national sport comes in December and says we want to use the
Because we got
facility.
aid and it's
Right.
yeah.
What happens to
That's understandable.
Right,
That's
right,
understandable.
right.
That's understandable.
Right. But I tell you this, on the flip side of that is the sports center should be saying, well, listen, we could give you these dates. However, if the national program, our national sports, need to use the facility, we may have to then take some of those dates away from you to facilitate them because it has already been approved and followed through that when a national team of the two national sports are preparing for competition 2 weeks out, they get to use the facility. End of story.
You read my mind.
Yeah.
You read my mind.
It's already been done. It's already in writing. It's already been, I believe.
Prior
yeah.
to your signing the contract,
Yeah.
or prior to you.
Yeah. So you have
Now-
to have something in there amended to say just
I
that.
do know, obviously, that, and the National Sports Center is trying to probably recoup whatever money they
Money.
can.
Yes.
And obviously the funding for it. Who knows what the funding is as far as the BCB needs it for. But if we're going to have our national team have some type of chance against other countries, we've got to make them a priority. Because I'll state it again, if it was somebody going to the Olympics, we're going to try to do everything we can to make them be successful.
Yeah. And that is a valid point.
Earl, one last thing with that. What's our national sport?
Football, cricket. Currently, it's football and cricket. That it. Right now.
Until that changes.
Yeah, that it.
Until that changes. So as far as the team's concerned, I'm curious because I heard they know batting rate down to 10. I was like, okay, ambitious.
No, well, 10,
But
10
when
for
say,
our
when,
standards.
when they say 10, because it mentioned CJ. CJ has been made, but whew.
You must have given me stuff.
I'm gonna hide him. Not gonna hide. No, but in saying that, no, it's.
Oh, he did say he scored. Yeah. Even Malcolm Marshall and then Jill Gungleman.
Right.
They made runs. Courtney Walsh made runs one day. And everybody was packing up and saying, "Hurry up, because I need to go get some
Couple
runs."
inside edges,
Yeah. Was that lucky day?
Yeah, one of those days. But no, in saying that, looking, it's going to be interesting. Earl, you know what? I'm going to pose you a question, right? Because I saw, obviously, looking at Okira Bascom, and I see Tamika Wilson, and I'm thinking of probably trying to get Tamika Wilson more for Malaysia. But in saying that, what do we do? We probably talk about this more when it comes to the actual games itself. But the name Trey Manders in this format, and are we going to, and I'm just off the cuff because we're talking 50 overs and a 20 over match. would you sacrifice Trey in the 20 overs to just let him focus on the 50 overs? Because if we know Trey has to get himself in. 20 overs, we ain't
You
got.
talking about Trey or Terry?
No, Trey Mendes.
Okay, because Trey could be a little more aggressive than Terry.
I was just saying Trey. So.
I know, but
And
Trey
I'm
is
saying that
the
because
type of guy.
you're not going to bet Trey. You're not going to bet Trey down the order.
No, Trey is the type of guy that if he bats with certain people, they can get him to change speeds. If he feels as if I've got to stay here and kind of hold my end, he could do that as well. It's if he comes in with the right mindset, then Trey could be one of the leaders of the team as far as stats concerned. You know, Trey is very quiet, doesn't say much on the field, just goes about his business. So in that regard, he's not going to be a standout leader of that nature. But in the stats department, as far as him batting, he can be that leader if he comes in with the right mindset.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw this out there because we heard the coach mention that Jannero Tucker probably comes 4 or 5 for the most part, right? You know that.
Yes.
Based off that last tour to Canada, right? Kamal Leverett went up and opened.
And opened, yeah. And he will probably do the same thing.
Right? So that's 2 places going. Dion Stubble.
Dion Stubble will probably open.
Taryn Frey.
Taryn Frey will probably bat 7, 8, 9.
And see, that's what I'm saying. So do you switch him in Trey?
Trey would go 3.
Trey would go 3.
Trey would go 3 in most of the formats because of his style of batting. He can switch gears. Yeah. And the other thing is you want someone like Trey in the event that you lose an early wicket because his temperament.
Those guys are more aggressive.
Right.
Okay.
His temperament will be to hold it in and let somebody else go.
I was saying on the premises that Trey and Taryn will be in the top 4.
No, I can't see that. And the funny thing is, Trey and Clay were on a radio show with me yesterday, and we had that same conversation. And he readily admitted, he said, no word a lot. Taryn said, but everybody knows I am not that forceful in a 2020. I'm more geared to the 50 overs in the open game. I can hit 6s, or I struggle to hit 6s, but I'm probably got the most 4s in the league and so forth. And more than likely in the 20 overs, he said, he will probably bet 7 or 8, which is fine. Now, if hypothetically you start losing early wickets, you push him up the order because he's the type of guy that's going to solidify the innings.
Exactly.
So it works well in both ways.
You make him the more versatile player. Yeah,
right.
It's going to be interesting.
Now, I'll tell you, hypothetically, if Kamal and Dion open the inning and they get going, bang, 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 and then Jannero comes, because Jannero would have to come next because you want to keep banging, 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 banging. A lot of guys like Trey and Taryn may not even bat.
Well, because, and I'm just thinking, and you just said that, right? So let's think of that, and let's say somebody gets out. The ideal person probably to bring in right after that would probably be crazy.
Yeah, or Jacoby if playing. One of those two's playing. You gotta bring, because if you've got, say you've got 170 runs in 15 overs.
And I would even put Stephen Brimmer.
Yeah, because he's aggressive.
He's aggressive and he's got shots. So, like I said, these are some of the things that we'll probably talk more about as these days get a little closer.
Clay, I'm not trying to take your jaw up, boss. Take it easy.
We're just having fun.
Take it easy, bro. I ain't trying to take your jaw up. I know you got a phone call, but take it easy.
But you know what happens when our juices get flowing? When it comes to this, our juices get flowing, and we're looking at different scenarios.
Yeah, sure.
And I think that's going to be interesting because the only thing that I was surprised you didn't ask, Earl. What
was that?
I know we don't like to rain on the parade when it comes to our Achilles heel. Preparation of teams using multiple spinners against us, and I'm saying that because we're seeing this. This is not in Bermuda. I told you it's happening in the Caribbean. Our West Indian counterparts are having trouble facing spin. If you've been paying attention to the under-19s World Cup, our UK. Our guys are having trouble facing good spin.
Primarily, a lot of that is due to the surfaces.
Yeah.
If you look at, as long as the spinner is consistent in his line and length, the wickets have been assisting them tremendously. I don't think that they were looking at that for this tour because they're playing Argentina and Cayman on what they consider a true surface. But it would have been nice to actually look at that. But I know when they come back
to
go to Malaysia, they know the wickets will be turning big. And they're going to have to work extremely hard. The only good thing I say is the fact that they would have about, what are they playing? 2, 5, 6, 7 or 8 games under their belt. Meaningful games under their belt to then come back, train on the specific things, and then go right into tournament mode.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
If we could find a track, which they said they're going to use Bailey's Bay by the time they get back, and then they have to find those dedicated, even our spinners are going to have to be birding regularly, and they're going to have to be facing the spin as well. So it's going to be very interesting on how the preparation for that Malaysia comes. I personally am not too worried about the Cayman and Argentina, only because of past histories. And I believe we should be able to do away with both teams, even on a bad day. We could be having a bad day, but we should be able to beat those two teams. It's how we mentally prepare for that Malaysia tour.
Okay, and finally, and we've seen it in both sports, both our national sports, the omission of certain names that I will love, and I'm pretty sure the coach will love, pretty sure the president will love. But when you have, and let's go for last season. Guy who scored the most runs, who's a strike bowler, who's not going, scored him as 500 runs, I think 471 runs in the league. Some of Malachi Jones.
Yeah.
When we have players like Dak Brangman, I don't think naming too many bowlers who have taken more wickets over the last 5 years domestically.
Right.
Before Malachi overtook a player last year, the season was basically Alan Douglas's to lose.
90.
Obviously, reasons. We've got to come to some type of agreement. We have to. Obviously, some underlying issues. Probably with all three. They're probably different.
Right.
For whatever case is, because it's not like they don't like the game.
Right. They sure they like it. They sure they love it.
They're passionate about it. So we know that's not it.
Right.
That's not the issue.
No.
Are they injured? That's not the issue.
No.
I told you to do some investigative reporting, but you coming back empty here.
Hold on. I want to get to that investigative reporting because you sent me to do a job last week and I done it.
Okay.
I didn't have to do much of it because the person sent it out after hearing you asked the question.
You saw that? Sometimes you be thrilled out there.
But we'll get to that in a little while.
But that's and I think, I say this, Earl, because in sports, and we know you reach your peak when your physical ability matches your mental ability. You know what I'm saying? And it comes together. That's the peak.
Right.
Then once it gets there, then your physical ability starts to, because initially it's your physical and your mental's down. Then you build up your mental. Right. But then your physical starts to drop.
Yeah.
That's sports.
Yeah.
I think these guys are almost, side by side. If you look at it like that.
Well, you know what? To be honest, honesty has to come into the field. And when I say honesty, everybody has to be honest with each other. Okay? Either you want to be a part of something or you don't. But just be honest. Just be straight up. Look, right now I'm not interested in representing the country. Fine. Okay, if you're not, you're not. Cool. But don't allude to the fact that you want to be and then your actions show something different. You know what I mean? Everybody else is making a sacrifice to go to training. You decide, nah, I didn't feel like it. But do you want to be a part of it or don't you want to be a part of it?
So this is where I do commend the setup.
Right.
Because they're trying to stick to that.
Like it or not.
Yeah.
You have to start setting parameters for players, coaches, officials to have a guideline by, and once you stick to those guidelines, no matter who put them in place,
we're gonna take you out.
We have to put something.
But that's what I say. I'm not disappointed at the selectors.
Right. They're gonna choose what's in front of them.
Right. Like I said, it's just as a fan.
You want to see who highlights you, who brings you out on a Saturday or Sunday. You want to see that person then go on and represent the country and do the exact same thing.
And you just said that.
Yeah.
The players we're talking about, we leave our house.
On a Saturday or Sunday.
And that's not to take away from some of the other players
right.
that's in the squad.
Right.
But the players I'm talking about, you leave your house. Because I seen Derek Hallowell, the MVP of Cup match.
Yeah.
MVP of the league. I mean, we're talking MVP players. And like I said, and to go along with obviously the omission of OJ Pitcher. And I think, to be honest, I think like you used the word honest. I think if we're talking about being honest, the only chance, Earl, I think us getting back to Division III as soon as we think we're going to get back, we have to have these players in the field.
Yeah.
If not, I'm not saying that we can get there, but it will be a challenge.
Yeah.
It would be a challenge. Because
of the fact the teams that we will play in Division IV have been more active than we have. Whether their season's in or not, and logistically, they are allowed to because of where they're situated.
Well, Earl, okay, based on team, how many guys get in the first cap?
6 in this.
And the last tournament, how many guys got the first cap in the last tournament?
Oh, probably 6 or 7. So we're the same players.
But still, just think about it. 12 or let's say 10 new caps.
In 2 tours.
So that's the part that's. But I'll keep faith. Like I said, no matter who puts on that shirt,
we're gonna support them.
I'll support you guys.
Jay's can keep wicket, and I'm gonna run my mouth.
I'm top of the wicket somewhere. That's a new drink or something.
It'll be green.
Yep.
Well, Jay, you talked about if a person was representing the country in the Olympics. I got a chance to speak with Trey Houston about 2018 and what the Olympic Solidarity funding he'll be able to use it for this year and in preparation leading up to the 2020 Olympics. Let's get that interview with Trey Houston. Now, Trey, 2018 has come, and we've started a lot of things so far. What's your plan for 2018?
2018 is just to capitalize from whatever I done last year to be better this season. Always, I always have goals set for myself, and I'm looking just to do bigger things than what I done in 2017.
Now, you were one of the recipients of the Olympic scholarship funding. How does that help you, per se, prepare for events such as Commonwealth coming up?
Money always a good thing, but it's always good just to know that there's money out there for elite athletes that's actually trying to do something, put Bermuda on the map, I should say. And for preparations for not just Commonwealth, but other meets leading on, is always a good feeling to know that it's some type of financial support out there for us. So I'm looking to just use that money in the right ways, and like for treatment, coaching, nutrition, and etc. and other things like that. So it's always a good thing to know that type of financial help's out there for us.
There are a lot of meets, international meets, in 2018. How is your planning going for that? Because you want to be peaking at the right time, at the right places.
Exactly. The biggest meet this year is definitely Commonwealth. It's early April. I haven't really peaked for a meet that early since I was 17, 18 when I was in Carifta. So it's definitely going to be a challenging one to peak for, because I know everyone's going to come with the A game. But me and my coach Devon Bean, we have a plan, and we're looking to stick to that. I'm looking to leave her the ending of February to get in some good hard training with Tyson, Ashmead, and some other good athletes out in Orlando. So hopefully the training camp goes well, and I got a few meets in, and hopefully I'm ready to go.
All right, well, good luck, and we'll be talking to you as the year goes by.
Appreciate it.
This week, you asked me a question about going to find out what is next for the ladies at netball. Well, before I can get to the court, and right after the show, comes out an email that it was All-Star Weekend, and the women are getting ready for the World Cup qualifiers, which will be later this year. The under 16 and under 19s will be going off to the Jean Pierre tournament, as well as a Canadian-U.S. tournament for the under 19. So there you have it. Questions answered.
Yes.
And I didn't have to go and do what you summoned me to do, because
can't wait till you.
Obviously the show is working.
Can't wait till you look at that.
Yeah.
No, and it's good. And that's, like I said, us as Bermudans, we want to support our own. So, and I say that there because sometimes if the information comes out early enough, Earl, and I'm off island, you know what? Let me just
see what I'm doing around that time.
Exactly.
It opens up a whole new possibility of bringing Bermudians to watch Bermudians.
Off island.
Off island, yeah.
A lot of times, I know we can't give the information because it's not been confirmed.
Right,
this, that,
right.
the other. But I think if we got
proposed dates.
Yeah, proposed dates and
proposed
stuff like
month.
That, because, like you said, and I'm pretty sure players themselves, I remember going back to the World Cup when guys were talking about when they was down in the Caribbean playing, there was a Bermuda contingency.
Yeah.
Making probably more noise.
That's right. Than the Indians. Figure that out. Figure that out. Making more noise regardless of what they supported. Regardless of what was going on, they supported. Some people will, many people back at home talking about they're embarrassed. Embarrassed to face India, Sri Lanka? Man, no way. That's any cricketer.
Dream.
That is a dream. Okay? No, the results weren't good. I didn't expect them to be good.
Dream.
But the fact that Bermuda was on the world stage playing in the World Cup was a dream come true for not only those, but a lot of people would have never dreamt they would have seen Bermuda at that point.
Man, Earl, you can go on YouTube or any social media thing when it comes about cricket and one of the best catches ever. One of the best catches ever.
Going to his right.
One of the best catches ever.
And one of the best celebrations you've seen too.
Yeah, that too. for one out.
I still go back to, because in my mind, I play back that Jeffrey Boycott What are they doing? They have 9 more wickets to get.
Yeah, exactly.
We ain't worried about those 9 wickets, boys. We got one. One more than a lot of people thought we would get. Yeah.
Like I said, they beat us. And I think that's the whole thing. When it comes to supporting athletes, not only on the island but also off island. And not only, you got to also remember too that we have many Bermudans who stay off island.
Yeah.
So the more information that we could put out to them, because that's the only reason they'll probably be hearing it through social media or keeping an eye on the site or whatever the case may be, is that okay, you know what, they're coming to our town or somewhere in Canada. Well, you know what, we go over there. So just thinking about it, I'm glad that you guys got the information out, and I just think we need to probably start putting more of a calendar together. All our sports getting a calendar together.
I know full well that the Department of Youth and Sport, during their next, which I believe is in March, their next meeting with all the national sports governing bodies, they will be bringing calendars of their events to them, and then there will be a nationally one done to go over, and so it will be posted somewhere. I'm not sure where,
and
that's
it'll
be a guideline.
We need to have some central website to say, okay, here's our national programs. These are proposed dates for these tournaments. No, whether we qualify for them, whether we go to
but those tournaments are there. Yeah.
Right down to the track and field tournaments that the guys go to in the summer. We talked about those teams that went to Vegas for basketball and also rugby, I believe it was. The rugby events, the swimming events. I mean, you name it, all the events that were all...
I'm going on vacation to Bahamas. What's in Bahamas during the time I'm going to be there? Oh, it's Carifta. Oh, it's rugby. Oh, it's, and Bermuda's playing. So those are the type of things that, I think that's what you're alluding to, that if there's a national calendar of sporting events, both locally and abroad, then there's an opportunity that somebody may decide to take their vacation and go and catch Bermuda playing.
Just saying.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say congratulations to the 4 athletes who qualified for the Carifta Games over the weekend.
Now, Earl, that shocked me.
Why it shocked you, man?
Because we stated it would have been very unlikely.
Yes, but
due to the weather,
it might have been cool. Weren't much of a breeze. It was just really cool. But once those guys warmed up, they were able to. And we did say it was highly unlikely on the Thursday. When we saw the weather and the temperature was going to be rather cool, it was a concern that you wouldn't get it. But...
And I got to say, they didn't just get it.
They crushed it. Yeah. Congratulations, Ryan Otterbridge. Congratulations to Robert Edwards.
Yeah.
And congratulations to...
2 more.
Yeah. I know Brianna Mendez qualified in Boston. And who was the third? The third was, Taylor Hines, 200 meters. Congratulations to you 4. And also, Evan Farrow from swimming qualified for the Carifta Swimming Championships on Saturday. Lamont Marshall, congratulations.
Wow.
5,000 meter indoor racket.
Wow.
Man, that was a jug, man. That's what he's,
But when you think about him beating Terrence Armstrong's record.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
I believe it was 91.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. You're showing your age.
Was it 91 or 2001? I knew it was a 1. I can't remember if it was 91.
You're showing your age.
Yeah, well,
Almost 20 or almost 30, so you look at it like...
One way or the other, yeah.
No, it was 2001.
2001, okay. Yeah. But the fact that Lamont is getting older, but is getting smarter. When I say smarter, he's not just running.
Well,
he's thinking the race.
That was what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Normally, like I said, when you're young, you just run. You don't, the thought process of what we're doing is, you don't think about it. When those two come on even playing, is when you're at your optimum best.
Right.
And like you said, and this is why I say this with athletes, you can't stay on that even playing for a long period of time. Because it takes a lot with injuries.
Right.
Not having injuries, because once again, your physical ability will drop and you're going to get back to it.
Right.
you know, and then it could be stressful. So then your mental,
Yeah.
then you're getting older. So you're talking about work and family and all these other things. So all these different things, you know, swings the pendulum each
Right,
way.
right.
So, but he's it feels like it's kind of like a rebirth.
Yeah, yeah. He's actually targeting certain events and putting in the miles and the training for those events. I see him in the Arboretum at the height of the day. I see him sometimes on a golf course, you know, at different times. You know, you just see him putting in the work, and that dedication is now starting to see the rewards. I know he had won the Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby, 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay won it last year.
Jay won it last year, right. So he has really now started to put himself in a position where he is matured as a runner. And I think this is something that a lot of people try to search for, but sometimes never get there. But I think he is now in that mind space that he can go further now because he's overcome that part.
And we just mentioned about, you know, letting the public know about certain events, even for guys who do these, like Lamont doing these events. Him getting that information out also.
Right.
Now, it is January. He did mention a month. May
11th,
Yeah.
area permit meet number 3.
Glad that this is now be our 3rd year. And to see some of the top class athletes coming here to compete. Obviously, they've got bigger fish to fry. But to have those athletes here, and we talk about Lamont Marshall, I'm pretty sure they've done the steeplechase.
Steeplechase, they'll
Which
probably
is
have
probably
that
the first time
again.
we had that.
Yeah. Well, we had
Well,
it during the Island Games,
But
but
that was, you know, for a while.
yeah, to see, we'll say professional athletes do it as opposed to amateur athletes, because but during the Island Games it was more amateur athletes doing it. But to see professional athletes do it, it's a technical race, man. It is not something that.
So it'll be interesting. So in saying that, it'll be interesting what event that they will have for Lamont.
I believe they're gonna have the steeplechase again.
Obviously,
Whether or not he runs that particular one, he may do the 3,000.
That's
He
what
may
I'm
do. It all depends.
That's
It all
what I'm thinking.
depends.
He may do the 3,000.
What's his? Obviously, it's a year for CAC. So we've already done the Commonwealth, and it's 2 weeks before May 24th. So I and whether or not he runs that, that's to be decided. But if he's going to run May 24th, he's not going to want to do a race that's going to overexert himself.
Right.
So, you know, it's tricky, and we'll have to wait and see. Well, folks, that's it for the Digicel Sports Show right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and for Juggler, good night.